you guys are doing well out there. The topic for this evening is spirituality, a new perspective. So now we're dating. So some of my listeners have been asking me about, they wanted me to talk about relationships and dating. And so I thought I would go down this dangerous path with everybody. But before I get into that, I want to read a little something. So if what you want is health, happiness, wealth, inner peace, and enlightenment, you need to integrate your shadows. You need to invite the unconscious into the conscious. You need to become aware of what you are not aware of, and you need to accept, re-own, acknowledge, understand, and love what you currently push away from yourself. Things like painful memories, negative thoughts, painful emotions, and parts of yourself that you dislike. That was another brilliant quote from Till Swan. She's one of my favorites. All right. So, very briefly, I hope everyone is being safe out there. I want to talk about this COVID thing a little bit before we get into this. Family, this is a serious matter now. Some of the states are saying that it's starting to look better. All I know is that right now, in the United States, they're looking at 41 to 47,000 that have passed on. These numbers are astounding, family. You got to be safe out here. I hope you guys are continuing to wear your mask and wear your gloves and just be careful. This virus is just something else in terms of how many people that is taken out. The fact that a lot of families are losing loved ones and they're dying alone. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, how terrible this is. I mean, people are dying alone. They're catching this thing, and in their last hours are dying by themselves because they don't want to reinfect their families. So, I mean, my goodness, this is something that we haven't seen in our lifetime. So I want to have a moment of silence for those that have crossed back over. Let's have a moment of silence for those that have gone over. All right, thank you. So you just got to be careful out there. You got to be careful. I know everyone is getting antsy. They're talking about stimulus packages, and they're talking about trying to open up certain cities and governments depending on what's going on. I mean, I don't even know what this thing is going to look like. I just pray that those that are in charge make the right decisions, and we don't increase people getting sick all over again and trying to go back to work too soon and all these things. This thing is outrageous, and we just have to be careful. We have to do the things that we were talking about. You got to protect yourselves. Make sure you wash your hands. Make sure you're wearing masks when you go out. You got to continue to protect yourselves. And it looks like you may have to protect yourselves even when they're talking about opening up markets again and everything. So we just got to be real careful about this whole COVID thing. I mean, it is certainly doing its job in terms of making us sit still and look at some things. So speaking of that, I've been getting some of my listeners have been telling me they wanted me to talk about relationships, and they want to know what my perspective is on these types of things, and how do I feel about what it takes to be successful. And I'm like, I don't know. So I put in a little work to try to see what could I say to hopefully to help not make it worse. I mean, right now I've heard, like I said, divorce rates are going up because people are stuck together, and all the things that they do to avoid each other is now coming to a head in these homes because of COVID-19. I'm telling you, COVID-19 is the great exposer. So we're going to talk about this a little bit tonight. And again, so the topic is spirituality, a new perspective. So now we're dating. That's the topic. So I was looking on Instagram, and one of the posts, one of the sites, they were actually talking about this a little bit. So I thought I would print out some of it and give some comments in terms of what they're saying about this whole topic and everything. So someone posted, my girlfriend wants to know how many of you have a partner who hasn't gone through an awakening but has been with you before and after your awakening, and how has it changed your relationship? So here's what some of them were saying. This one person, she said, honestly, she felt like, honestly, it doesn't work. I've tried twice, and it's like trying to force two different life paths in the same direction. One wants to go one way, but the other won't move, so both have to compromise, when realistically, neither should, because they are both just too different and thus both suffer. Honey, can we meditate together? Do you want to go on a nature walk with me and feel the vibes? Do you want to try a new modality of energy copulation? The answer will always be no, and that's fine. Some people just aren't interested in that. But it's easier and more fun to be with someone who also wants to grow spiritually. Otherwise, it's just a chore. So that's what one person said. Let's look at some more in terms of what they're talking about with this, because again, a lot of us are in relationships that we're probably in for the wrong reasons, but we weren't aware of that and everything. So we're gonna try to address the first half of my program tonight to see if I can help you guys with this. All right. So this person said, my awakening led to divorce. And an ironic twist, it also led to my twin flame. So she broke up, but then she found her twin flame. Having said that, the awakening isn't about relationships per se. It's about finding yourself, mindfulness, and ascension. I live my best life each day and in the present. People come and go on this journey. They're angels or angels in disguise that I teach lessons that I learn and I grow from. That's a great attitude with her. All right, so that was her perspective on that. This person here said, my partner is very supportive and he believes, but has not had personal experiences, so he doubts it. When I share my experiences, he talks about learning things in the past, and it helps reinforce what I'm going through. But honestly, as long as they aren't stopping you from your own journey, then it doesn't matter. So they're like, if he's not getting in my way, my progression, he's fine. You know what I'm saying? That's their attitude. So as you can see, this is a mixed bag of perspectives. This person said, makes no difference. Opinions, views, cause, effect are all in one's mind. Best wishes. Good luck to you. This guy, Go Call V, he said, that's it right here. True awakening is the understanding that no one and nothing is asleep. So that's what they said. All right. And I have two more here that I'm going to go over. So this person said, well, I'm divorcing mine right now. So that doesn't work out too well. We no longer resonate with each other, and that's not fair to either one of us. So this person says, I'm out. You know what I mean? I'm trying to grow. They don't get it. I'm out. This person here said, awakening is not a one-time event, but an ongoing through this life and beyond. When a person practices the tools that sustain awakening, they gain in compromise, they understanding and not taking things personally, which impacts the dynamics of a relationship. This allows each person to grow. All right. So that's what that person was saying about it. So as we can see, this is a mixed bag in terms of trying to reconcile how do we move on and still stay with our partners that we're married to, or we try to still stay with our boyfriends and girlfriends and they're not getting it and everything. So as you can see, it's a mixed bag. So the topic tonight is spirituality, a new perspective. So now we are dating. Please call in, family. We're on Facebook, Instagram. You're going to be uploaded on YouTube. Please call in 605-562-0444. Press pin number 7414519 £1 to listen, *2 to join the conversation. I need you guys to call in tonight. I want to know what you think about this topic. I want you to ask me questions or make comments about why divorce rates Divorce rates are so high. Please call in and help us out tonight. Give me a call in. Please, I'm waiting for you to call. All right. So I have an idea. I have a system. I call it the Strength Transformative Dating System. That's what I call my system, right? So the goal is hopefully I don't mess it up too badly. That's why I need your feedback to let me know. So I want to talk about this program that hopefully can help us to begin to align ourselves with people that are of like mind and to move us towards wholeness in our relationships. That's the whole idea with this. All right. So bear with me. Let me hear your comments. Again, call in 605-562-0444. Press pin number 7414519, pound, £1 to listen, *2 to join the conversation. Okay. So you guys know the Terror Strength Show. We talk about a little bit of history. We talk about a lot of spirituality. We talk about some things you may not hear at a lot of places, but we try to combine it all together to give you guys a perspective to really help you to navigate this realm. All right. So the STDS, which stands for the Strength Transformative Dating System, is based on the ancient Kemetic system of holistic learning. Okay. Or ancient Egyptian systems of holistic learning. The ancient Africans believed that the more you studied, the closer to God you became. The University of Epet-Isut was the largest university in ancient times, and it had a large library, and the faculty was known as the teachers of mysteries. It was divided into 7 major departments such as astronomy, astrology, geography, geology, philosophy, theology, law, and communication. It was believed that when you enrolled and went to school for 40 years, and after graduation, you were referred to as a neophyte. Also, I want to mention that when you graduated, you had 7 doctorates. Okay? You had seven doctorates in all of these disciplines. So you went to school for 40 years in this university. It was also known that a lot of the Greeks at the time went to this university to learn. They've shown that in history. So a lot of them were involved in learning and everything. Okay, we have a caller in the queue. Caller 1, who am I speaking to?
Hey, Terrence, it's Sherry Petito. How are you?
How are you doing, Miss Petito? The Jersey Jewel. How are you doing today?
The Jersey Jewel, baby. I'm doing good. So I want to talk to you first about your question.
Okay.
Why is the divorce rate so high?
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to give my opinion, which are facts. But I'm going to give my opinion.
Right.
This is why I believe today more than ever, because there's lots of reasons, but the main reasons is this. Because we have to respect not only our mate, we have to respect ourselves. So whenever respect is broken, whether it's not respecting yourself and allowing someone else to abuse you,
right,
or not respecting your mate. Okay, so respect is the bottom line, the base for everything. So you're going to make or break things in life based on respect. And when we have the respect for ourselves and we have the respect for others, and they in turn have the same, it's going to work. Because nobody's fighting to be, okay, you have to listen to me, no, you have to listen to me, stop doing that, don't do this, I don't want my wife, you're my prop. No. We're all individuals and we should respect ourselves and again respect each other. If we can do that, there would never be a divorce.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's what I feel. But I'm also calling you to congratulate you, baby, the rookie phenom Terror Strength on your O&E syndicated station all-time connection record, where you're unprecedented, 18th all-time, man, as a new host in a linear year and the 17th consecutive and you're tied second all time in this category, kiddo. How about that?
Yeah, thank you. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Great topic. I'm loving your show.
Thank you.
And I respect you.
Thank you.
So there.
Thank you. I need some respect. I appreciate that, Jerry. All right. So so as the Jersey Jewel was saying, we need to respect each other, and what she said was very wise. It actually is the infrastructure that my system is based on. But the bigger question I ask is, why aren't people respecting each other? You know, why aren't people? So again, when I talk about this ancient system of holistic learning, uh, it is from the spirit of this magnificent society that I draw inspiration for this system. Okay? So the first thing we need to understand is that all of us that enter this realm are here to remember why we came back here and to complete our progression. Now, a lot of us will not do that because we would get caught up in all the distractions that this realm has to offer. So basically, the universe doesn't care about our romantic relationships any more than it cares about how much money we make or how big our houses are, because those things are all about our ego and attachments. Now, I'm not saying that you can't or shouldn't desire a beautiful family or nice material things, but when you value those things over your own progression, then there is a problem. Okay? Now, I want to say this again, family. I'm not saying that. I want to say this again. I'm not saying you can't or shouldn't desire a beautiful family or nice material things. But when you value those things over your own progression, then there is a problem. Therefore, that is a perspective that you must fight for in your interpersonal and romantic relationships, because this will provide a psycho-spiritual framework from which the couple will cohabitate and make decisions, thereby creating a culture that is conducive to both of your expansion. Now, why is this important? Because we are all here to grow and learn. Now, that's one thing we all have in common. It doesn't matter our ethnicity. It doesn't matter where we come from. It doesn't matter what part of the earth we come from, whatever. We are all back here to figure this out and to expand. So that's an assumption that you can make in your relationships, that you are here for the same reasons that I am here. Okay? So, having that perspective in your relationships, you will end up raising your vibrational frequencies by default just by consistently applying this system. Okay? So now let's go into foundational, pre-dating. What should you be doing before you get out there, family? Before you start trying to find that loved one, okay? Now, I understand that a lot of us is not going to follow this system, okay? A lot of it is going to go right over our heads. But what I can say, that if you follow this system, it's going to put you more into alignment. It's going to help you to attract that which you are trying to attract. And it's based on these principles, okay? So I understand that for many of us, we spend an inordinate amount of time avoiding our hurts, disappointments, fears, and issues due to negligent parents, abusive child rearing, overprotective parents, absentee parents, and etc., etc. We show this by hiding behind our education, the pursuit of material excess, drug addictions, sex addictions, career pursuits. You get the idea, okay? That's pretty much 98% of us on this earth, and this manifests in all cultures, ethnic groups, religions, etc., etc. All right, I think we have another caller on the line. Caller 2. Who am I speaking with?
Yes. Hey, Terrence. It's Andrea Kaczynski. How are you doing today?
How are you doing, Andrea?
I'm doing good. I'm
That's
loving
great.
the show. Congratulations
Thank you.
on your
Thank you.
connection record, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Uh, this is a great show. Um,
Thank you.
I had just an experience tonight. I've been in a relationship for many years,
We all
which is
have.
ending. And it's the person, we were not on the same level for many, many years. And I was in just like, well, not total shock, but they called me up tonight and said, uh, you know, you know me. You're right. You know, uh,
Right.
how do I fix some of these things that's going on with my life, which one of them is substance abuse.
Right.
And I said, well, you've got to want that help for yourself. You've got to respect yourself enough to want to change. No one can make you do that. You got to want to,
Right.
but you can, seek some professional help for that. And a lot of times, I think people, like you said, it can be upbringings in their childhood, and then they get into adulthood, and it just spirals out of control.
Absolutely.
And until they are confronted with a partner who just finally says, I can't take that no more,
Right.
and you have to, as Jerry says, know your worth. And when you
Absolutely.
begin to know your worth, and then you start coming up more yourself, like you're talking about, and then this person, moves on and they look back on their life and they see that,
Right.
it would take, coming from that relationship from me, that person would have to be really spiritually in line with God and just, know their worth to be in a relationship after
Absolutely.
being with someone who doesn't know their worth.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of times, too, we can help each other when we have a previous mate come back to us who does want help and who's trying to seek that slowly. And that doesn't mean you invite them back into your life,
Right.
but you can offer them advice, but it's up to them whether they take it or not.
Right.
And because some people, they never had any tools, many of us, there was never no handbook for our parents, and, we grew up in tough relationships and had to wing it as we got older and then into adulthood. But, yeah, love this topic. It's a great topic. I'm going to sit back and listen.
Well, thank
But
you
I
very
agree.
much.
I enjoyed it.
Andre, can I ask you one more question, please? Hello? Andre?
Yes.
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 I want to ask
Go
you a
ahead.
question. So you were saying it sounds like you were just getting out of a relationship. And
Right.
what were you say? What would you say? What did you really learn? And I'm not trying to get too personal here, but what did you learn that you're going to take
Uh-huh.
forward when you assess somebody else? You kind of said that, but I want you to expound for that for the listening audience.
Well, I learned a lot. I learned that, uh, respecting my own self, what I would, consider to have that same respect in someone that I give. Uh, I would want that same respect from someone else. And someone who was, that they love their self enough so that when we would come together as a couple and meet, it would just be a compliment to each other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
When you're so comfortable in your skin and you're so in alignment with God and you work on yourself spiritually and everything, you're okay with being alone. I
Absolutely.
mean, we do. We're human. We desire to be with a mate. God made us that way. But if that person comes along, I think I would know now because they would have to be, working on their self, and I could see that. I could feel that.
There you go.
I got married very young, so I didn't see that in the beginning.
Right.
But as I've grown and realized that, the other person, you have to really get to know someone, and a lot of times people don't take time enough to get to know a person,
Absolutely.
and then they just jump into a relationship. It's just like everything instant in our society anymore.
Yep.
They don't take the time to get to know the person, and I don't want to get too personal, but they'll just get intimate with them before they even really get to know them,
Absolutely.
and then, they got their stuff in a big mess.
Absolutely.
Take time to get to know the person, how they believe, how they react around other people, how they handle life. And, I want peace in my life at the age I am now. I just want peace.
Absolutely.
And, I want someone else who wants the same thing. So, that's what I would look for. I learned a lot. And, I hope that person goes on and works on their life, and I wish them the best, but it was destructive, relationship, and I can't live like that in that type of environment, and I learned a lot from it. So,
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That's very informative. Thank you
You're
for sharing that,
welcome.
Andrea. Thank you. And when is your show, Andrea? She gone? She might be gone.
My show is this Wednesday night at 9 p.m., The Voice of Hope.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, family. Give us a call. Call in people. 605-562-0444. Press pin number 7414519#. £1 to listen, star 2 to join the conversation. I think we have another caller in the queue. Who am I speaking with?
Good evening, Terra Strength. This is Lena Blue. How are you this evening?
How are you doing this evening, Miss Blue?
I'm fantastic, thank you.
That's great.
I wanted to comment on your profound opening on the topic of relationships,
Okay.
where you referenced that we're all here to evolve.
Yes.
When someone is in a relationship, the concept of unity becomes important because
Right.
that's what the relationship, you're coming together
Mm-hmm.
to, but 1 + 1 is 2. So, in unity is where we're all on the same boat and we're rowing in the same direction. And sometimes that doesn't happen, as we all know, if we ever been in and out of a relationship. The challenge is achieving unity is also to be at unity or one with others. You must be at unity or one with yourself first. So you have to collectively have your, from a spiritual perspective, health, mental, you have to be at one and not in pieces, as we
Right.
sometimes are fragmented.
Right.
And I'm drawing some of this information from Women's Water, Man's Sphere, the Metaphysics of Love, Sex, and Relationships by Anusha Amin Ra.
Oh, okay.
And one of the things that he pointed
Look at
that
you,
I
Miss
thought
Blue.
was particularly important is that energetically there's no separation between us and each other.
Right.
The more we clear our minds and detach from the senses, the more we can experience that oneness with ourselves, and then we can invite others into the space. And I just wanted to share that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That was very profound, and what you're saying is in alignment with where I'm going with this. So thank you for sharing those words.
Absolutely,
Okay.
no problem.
Thank you. All right, family. So let's get moving. All right. So I want to read the last part again before we had the break in the callers. So I said we showed this by hiding behind our education, the pursuit of material excess, drug addictions, sex addictions, career pursuits. You get the idea. That's pretty much 98% of us on earth. And this manifests in all cultures, ethnic groups, religions, etc., etc., etc. Challenges that we've chosen to facilitate our expansion. So we asked for this before we came back here. Family, we must do the work. We must not be lazy. I want to say this again. We must do the work. We must not be lazy. Too many of us want something and we spend very little time finding out about it, but we just want it. We must first adopt the mindset, first of all, in order to help us to be more successful, is that we must first adopt the mindset that none of this is as important as our expansion. None of it. Like I've said in many classes before, we are here to evolve. That's why we're here. Expansion simply means to be aware of what you do, what you experience, how you react, and what that reaction means to show you. I want to make a point here. There's a reason that it seems most highly enlightened individuals tend to live alone and not be married and not have children. That's because those endeavors become all the more challenging to their enlightenment, and sometimes it has to be more about the children and a little less about expansion. Okay? I want to stop here for a second and talk about this for a second because, all of us talk about, we want to live like the Christ. We want to live like Jesus. Okay? We praising his name all day long. But when you look at the image of Jesus, he didn't have a nice house. Matter of fact, you didn't know where he lived. Looked like he lived out in the woods. Okay? And I'm not trying to offend anybody, but he didn't drive a fancy car. He didn't have a wife and children. We don't know where he lived. So yet, a lot of you are out here praising his name, but you're not trying to live like him at all. And that's just something to think about. But he didn't have any of that. And if you meet people now that live that way, you would judge them. You would say he's a bum or something like that. But these are the enlightened people that you look at. You talk about the Christ and all these enlightened people, but they're not living like us. So it's just something to think about. Okay? So I believe emphatically that we need to work on ourselves holistically. And by that I mean psychologically, historically, and spiritually. Okay? Because this puts us in a space of true acceptance and allows us to become spiritually progressive. All right, so I want to say that again. I think that before we go out here and start dating, we need to work on ourselves in 3 phases holistically: psychologically, historically, and spiritually. And we're going to talk about what that means. Okay, I told you I was going to try to help you. I don't know, I may get a whole bunch of people upset, with the whole Jesus talk and everything. All right, so let's start with what psychological means. Okay, so before you go out there, psychological means you are having an honest conversation with yourself. This conversation is needed in order to assess what is not working properly in your lives, and the courage needed to begin looking at sources that may provide relief and perspective. We all need to be focused on doing this. This is extremely important since we all come here with challenges brought on by our incarnations. So this means reading books, listening to Audible, YouTube on psychological issues that you are struggling with, like abandonment, abuse, shame, rage issues, etc., etc., etc. Going to some form of counseling in any format that assists you in making sense of what happened to you so that you can move towards wholeness. This is what Andrea Kaczynski was just talking about. How does one improve themselves psychologically? Well, I recommend at least 30 books, videos, or whatever. This should be ongoing, and you will notice drastic changes over time. Now, I know a lot of you don't like reading, because they've said for a lot of our groups, you want to hide something from people, you put it in a book. Okay? But I'm telling you, if you don't know how to read, you need to learn how to read. You have videos. We're in the information age. You need to get the information. That is your way of being responsible to you and to that future person that you say you want to meet. Okay? So let's stop going out here and have no level of self-awareness. You want to have compassion? First have compassion for yourself. You have to learn how to love. If you don't understand people, how can you have compassion for them? Okay? Here are the benefits of this if you do this from a psychological perspective. Number one, this will increase your understanding and awareness of what happened or what is still happening to you, and will allow you to not only process it differently, but to move in a different direction. Okay? Number two, this will also allow you to shift your emotional state due to your increased psychological knowledge, which means decreased depression, anxiety, rage, loneliness, shame, etc., etc., etc. Okay? Number three, also increased perception. Increased perception when you see different behaviors in others and the ability to know what those behaviors mean for you. All right? Now here it is. Number four, also increase compassion for others due to increased understanding and more resistance to dating or marriage because of increased perception of risk. All right? Callers, let's call in. 605, we calling out of Lagos, Nigeria. Give me a call at 605-562-0444. Press pin number 7414519. Pound, £1 to listen. Star 2 to join the conversation. I think I have a caller 3 in the queue. Caller 3, who am I speaking with? Hello? Hello?
Call three in the queue right now. That's okay. Continue, go ahead with what you're saying, Terrence.
All right. So again, as I said, increased compassion for others due to increased understanding and more resistance to dating or marriage because of increased perception of risk, which is what Ms. Kosinski was just talking about. All right. So do your psychological work, people. You owe it to yourself and you owe it to the person that you hope to meet. All right. Now, let's talk about what I mean by historical. This is number one of the Strength Transformative Dating System. The first phase is psychological. The second phase is historical. Here's what historical means. It means reading books that explain your ethnicity and the origin of where you come from and the history of your group, their achievements and struggles, and what that means for you and your connection with the rest of the world. Okay? So you got to know who you are. How you out here trying to find somebody and you don't even know who you are? You know how that's going to manifest when you're in your interpersonal relationships. You know, you're going to be more self-conscious. I mean, you name it. Okay? So take the time to understand where you come from on this earth. Okay? Take the time to understand your history because you're going to run into people who understand theirs. All right? So their achievements and struggles and what that means for you and your connection with the rest of the world. Now, Eckhart Tolle talks about pain bodies. Okay? He's one of my men, Eckhart Tolle. All right? And pain bodies is described as it is an accumulation of painful life experiences that was not fully faced and accepted in the moment that it arose. It leaves behind an energy form of emotional pain. It comes together with other energy forms from other instances. And so after some years, you have a pain body or an energy entity consisting of old emotions. Understand your group pain bodies and what they mean for you and others in your ethnic group. Okay? So if you're African American and you're dating some other group, whether it's Latino or they're from Puerto Rico or whatever, if you're dating another African American, you need to understand African American people. You need to understand their history. You need to understand their pains and what they deal with. That's a group paying body. If you're dating somebody who's Jewish, or you're dating somebody who's from the Philippines, you need to understand something. If I'm going to go out with somebody who's from the Philippines, I need to understand something about her and her history, where they come from. By you doing this, by virtue of you taking the time to do this, you are accepting the person that you're with. You are showing them that you care and love them. You are learning, you are taking an interest in them, and you are learning by them. By virtue of you doing that, you are respecting them. Just by you learning about them. All right? Understand your group paying bodies and what they mean for you and others in your ethnic group. Now, I recommend at least 15 books on this. All right? That's right. I got y'all reading tonight. 15 books. This should be ongoing, and you will notice drastic changes over time. Okay? Let's talk about the benefits of you doing this. From you doing this historical stuff, from you doing this, this will increase your knowledge of self from an identity standpoint. So you will begin to have more pride in who you are. You understand your group and you understand who you mean, who you are in this world. This will magnify your pride in yourself and those in your ethnic group, thereby increasing your self-value. Who doesn't want to go out with somebody that understands their value? No one wants to go out and date somebody who's insecure, don't know who they are, constantly needs validation. All right? So this is why doing this is so important. Number 3, make sure you understand the contributions of your ethnic group to the rest of the world. Okay? What are the contributions of Africans? What are the contributions of African Americans? What are the contributions in this world of Mexicans? What are the real contributions? If you're dating a Mexican, you need to learn about them and where they come from and understand how interacting with them is going to impact your family. You're going to have kids. If you get married, they're going to be of mixed heritage. So you need to understand that so that they can have a sense of pride in themselves. Okay? So this is a Strength Transformative Dating System. And also, number 4 or 5 or whatever. Understand where you come from in history and who influenced you. This will allow you to see what others cannot. Those who don't understand their history are doomed to repeat it. Learn from your history. Okay? Read your history, be serious about it, and it will allow you to see the future. Okay? Number 5. We have a caller 4 in the queue. Caller 4. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, what's up, Chad Stick? How you doing, sir?
Yes, who is this? Who am I speaking with?
Hey, you're speaking with the Magic Man. Can you hear me?
Yes. Magic Man, how are you doing this evening?
All right, I'm doing great. First of all, congratulations, man, on another championship.
Thank
Let me
you.
chime in right quick. First of all, on a religious perspective, one of the greatest things that I recall when I traveled that path is unevenly yoked can cause a serious issue. If you look
Absolutely.
at the different types of Christianity, you got the European version, you got the African Methodist, and, all the different branches, Baptist, all the things like that. Same thing with Islam. You got Ansar, Sunni, Shia, Nation of Islam, 5%, Nation of God, and God, and so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
Same thing with the so-called Jewish. You got the Hebrew Israelite Hebrew, Black Jews, Hasidic, Sephardic, and the list goes on. That's on the religious side. Now, on the so-called conscious side, they have what most have done is created another religion. Most people, and I go so far as to say 99.9%, who left the folds of religion as you know it, went in and took a religious approach towards trying to link back to our ancestry. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at people who call in Egypt, you understand?
Absolutely.
You got gnomes in Egypt. You got, so many different deities
Yep.
like the 52 negative confessions. You
Yep.
understand?
Yep.
So it's creating an issue, right? So the last thing I want to say, man, it really comes down to self-awareness.
Absolutely.
And in the old time, there was a thing that opposites attract and like repel. That's one of the greatest lies ever been told.
Absolutely.
In order to be successful in this day and time, like attract, opposites repel.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
If you're on a similar pathway, especially, I'm mainly speaking about children of nature who's attracted to men and women, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the man and the woman, if the man who's naturally attracted to the woman, and they're on a pathway for self-discovery or self-mastery, right?
Yes.
They have the greatest chance of being together. My last case in point, you spoke about the Jesus Christ figure. One of the greatest lies ever been told, besides the identity of the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, is he lived as a regular man. Yes,
Yes.
he did get married. Matter of fact, he had 2 wives, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many things that's been hidden. And anyone who's curious to know, just open up your Bibles, you go to St. John chapter 2, and you really read that story. This is a very, very important marriage that took place with according to the story. This is where the first miracle was performed actually at his own wedding. And there's a lot of researchers out there, there's a lot of secret and sacred societies that also speak about the wedding of the Lamb, as he was called. You understand?
Yep.
So bottom line is there's so much information out there, and people have been spoon-fed on a Messiah who came to earth, lived as a man, but they don't even take time to even think and use common sense. What man on this planet gonna walk this earth, according to most, for 32, 33 years and not touch a woman? You understand? They took him from being an anointed savior, blessed son of the Most High, and made him look like he was some
Right.
virgin Hindu god. You understand?
You're right.
This man was a man. You understand? Who lived his life as a man, right? I mean, besides this, I mean, I would have to pray for a man who is living for 32, 33 years without releasing the buildup.
Go ahead,
His
Hooney.
genitals would be the damn salt. His genitals would be the damn size.
See, there you go,
Oh,
Hooney.
keep
See,
going.
see,
Thank
you know what, man? You gotta get you. There you go. Oh my goodness. Is he still there? He left.
Man, we got another call on the line.
Call a
right
5
now.
in the queue. Call a
Come
5
on
in the
in
queue.
with Terrence right now, and know you're right.
Hi, good evening, Terrence. This is Antonio Batt.
Antonio Bass, how are you doing this evening?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good.
All right. I have to admit, I've heard some type of information from time to time on people's viewpoints that sort of corresponds with Brother Hooney. And as the saying goes, he has the right to be entitled to his opinion.
Right.
But also, I've also heard people say that they have left religion because they didn't like being beat over the head with religion.
Right.
They didn't like, people's interpretation of how, Jesus Christ has been perceived and or delivered. I've heard people said that it's not that they have a disrespect for, Jesus, but they didn't know if it was an actual situation. And I've been to schools, that involve religious studies, for a while. But I did it more so for the information and out of respect for at least God, I can definitely say. And, sometimes we have to keep an open mind, to sort of like look at things in through more than one vision.
Absolutely.
To like see why some people say what they say. And, you know, you don't have to necessarily agree with them, but then again, it won't hurt to see if you could learn from them.
Absolutely.
As to why some things really seem a particular way. And as a result, you know, people have to understand that they can't let their hearts guide them all the time. Sometimes you have to resort to a certain rationale with respect, of course, to the subject at hand. But about the relationship issue, you know, with the way the world is going, look, we can't avoid promiscuity, you know, I mean, especially when there's an opportunity for a man and a woman to, in their own bedroom, you know, mostly as husband and wife, I guess, would take and consume the need for them to have a nice, well, let's just say expressive relationship
Okay.
in their own,
Right.
you know, inside their own bedroom. But some people, they, because of the way things have been going and things I've, you know, came across, you know, from time to time a little bit in hearing some things, I can see why there's not a respect for relationships, and it makes it difficult for people to understand why there's so much confusion because the lack of healthy understanding as to why we do some things, you know. But, you know, when you do things like invite other people into the bedroom, don't expect for things to go perfect and all the other types of things that go on out here. And then think that everything's going to be natural, normal, and mentally healthy as well as physically, you know, on the same track that you started out with if it was considered a monogamous situation. But, you know, I can't tell nobody what to do with their life. Just hope that they set a better example for the kids so at least their lives don't have to be, you know, turned upside down if you have children that you bring into the world. Maybe I said a little too much, but thank you very much for hearing me.
No, thank you. And when is your show? Well, you just had a show, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Just before yours, and every other week on the Monday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's a pleasure to be bunted up against your show, which we can have a 2-for-1 of a wonderful night of great listening from both shows. And I thank you,
Absolutely. Thank you, Antonio Ben. Thank you for your comments, and you're absolutely right. I think I have another caller in the queue. Who am I speaking with? Hello?
Hey, this is Argyle Jones. How you doing?
Hey, Argyle.
Hello?
Yes.
Argyle Jones. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
I want to say this and then hop off because it's your show and I don't want to talk too much. But two things. I absolutely love your analogy and your explanation tonight. Looking forward to learning more. And hopefully we'll see this in the book at some point.
Yes,
but 2 points. Number one, maybe the reason why divorce rate is so high is that when divorce was conceived, the average life expectancy was 30 years old, right? So guys would get married at like 20, 22. The young lady was 16. They were both dead by 30. So married for life was 15 years, whereas married for life in today's society is 50 years, and people change over 50 years. So that's the first point. Second point is, everything you said is great. I love it, psychological, historical, and spiritual, but are you underestimating the biological forces that young men have in their 20s where all they're trying to do is get laid, and then women have as they get to 40 where their sexual peak is at its all-time high. So I'll hop off and throw those two at you and see what you have to say.
Well, you know what? You know what? And thanks for those comments, Mr. Jones. And you know what? I'm going to actually talk about that. I'm going to talk about that briefly. That's coming. And we're going to talk about that in the next show. But I do talk about that a little bit. But I think it's Ngozi time now, Brother O.
First of all, congratulations on something that's been unprecedented as a rookie in your script, in your stride. 18 all-time, 17 consecutive, never been done. And what a show tonight. A lot of times I thought about something here, Sarah, and it's deep, and I'm going to give an editorial on this one. I think abuse is when you're not unevenly yoked. Like Brother Hooney said very eloquently that, you know, people always have that lie about opposites attract, right?
Yeah, that's a lie.
And say if you get with a person and you love them unconditionally, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they make you so angry and you just dislike them.
Mm-hmm.
But you try to appease them.
Yep.
That's a form of abuse.
Yep.
That is a spiritual abuse.
Mm-hmm.
You see, a lot of people don't want to talk about spiritual abuse because they can cause physical abuse. After a while, you know what? You know what? I've been given to this person, and this person has treated me like dog excrement. And now I'm going to the drawer and pull out my 380 and shoot them dead. You wonder why these things happen.
Right.
In the middle of the night, you stab. Why? Well, she was such a nice person. Be careful who you deal with, and be careful who you mistreat.
Mm-hmm.
The life you save might be your own. Tomorrow night, we come back right here on this station, of course, with Kathy Costu, and of course, Evening Live at 9 o'clock Eastern, and then, of course, the International Internet Radio Hall of Fame for the class 2019 in Shriney, New Jersey, Jewel Jerry Petito and her show, named The Jerry Petito Show, at 10 o'clock Eastern, and it's right here on these only stations. One at Damon Network and one at Beverly Nation. And, of course, this show, of course, Beverly Nation is advertising to A&E, which is Oladelli and Goes Enterprise. You can reach the course at www.lookingglassentertainment.wordpress.com, as well as Ngozi Primetime One at www.com. We're Ngozi Time both for Twitter and Instagram, Oladelli and Ngozi at Pinterest and Google+, Oladelli Malaria and Ngozi at Facebook, as well as our business page, Know Your Rights, as well as the historic Beverly Nation Online Radio, established 2013. Any comments, suggestions to our wonderful programming tonight? that goes for my and gmail.com, and I am your mother and father's favorite producer, Oladelli Malay, where he goes. Saying good night and good luck to all the folks out there at Armed Force Radio that support us on a constant basis tonight. And of course, I'm on TikTok. That's right, you young folk. You know what I mean? You hip hoppers, pants slappers. Come on and join me on TikTok at Oladelli Malay when goes to 17 at TikTok. And of course, Mr. Terror Strength, you have 2 minutes exactly left in this program.
Family, I want to thank you guys for letting me talk about this topic. Of course, it's a little bit of a controversial topic. Not majorly so, but a little bit. And I just hope you guys would think about some of the stuff we talked about. In 2 weeks, we're going to continue this. We're going to get a little bit deeper into this and how we can help to keep people together or to bring the right people together and by using these spiritual laws and everything. And make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure you stay safe. And I just want to say to everybody, make sure you know your strength. All right? You can reach me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and these videos will be uploaded on Damon Looks on YouTube. Thank you very much.